we did more downloads in this 1 month than we have on every single platform 4.5 years combined. And it's only because of YouTube. Overestimate what you can do in a year, underestimate what you can do in 10 years. So I'll try to think with the end in mind. What's the title going to be? Why am I doing the show? And you speak to marketers and they're always like, marketing is more important. I say you need an absolute equal of both. Can you really quit if you haven't even tried?
Morgan Nelson, welcome to How Do I Podcast?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited.
It feels very weird in here today. So we've always recorded either in the studio or in like a hotel room that we've set up.
Okay.
But I'm really excited because we're actually in your studio now, like the place that we've all seen on YouTube. It's got your background, got your lights. Very cool space down here, by the way.
Thank you. We're in the process of building, I'll show you after, I'm going to build an entire room around there because for next year, when we want to take when I put this together, I was like, I'm not happy with it. And then I'm like, it's my own studio. I'm like, not happy. So we're building a whole other room out the back. We can do a round two and we'll put you in the new studio.
Definitely. And I think a studio, like even just the background, the way you have it now, like you've got your mugs, you've got the stuff in the background. It creates so much of an identity. Like you see it in the reels or you see it on YouTube and you're like, that's Morgan's podcast. It is such a big part of it. And I love when people go on the set creation journey. It's one of my favorite things because it's then like, what do you actually intentionally put in there that makes it yours?
Yeah.
It's really cool. So for someone who hasn't listened to the podcast, you've got just over 350 episodes now, which is amazing. Can you tell us what the podcast is about and why you started it in the first place?
Yeah. So the Dream Lab podcast is giving people the skill set and mindset to create their dream life. You know, it all started with very personal development approach and interviewing people who have created their dream life. And then I kind of get it in a way to start interviewing just experts of their field where people can get on and kind of get like a mini masterclass in different areas so they can learn the skill set and the mindset they need to create their dream life. We've had heaps of amazing people on there. Why did I start it? Was because I was a COVID podcast baby. Back up 18 months before COVID, I was in America. And we're sitting there and I had this idea. I'm like, I want to start a podcast. And literally the limiting belief I had, which was so funny because the more work you do on yourself, the limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome never actually goes away. They just become more intelligent. And what I said to myself was, are you sure you can do a podcast yet? And I'm like, why? And I was literally having this conversation. I'm like, why? I'm like, well, you're not even a millionaire yet. That's literally what I said. I was like, well, that's true. Yeah, I do have to become a millionaire first, I guess. And then the other voice was, but it's going to cost so much money to set up, the production. Do you have the bandwidth for that? I was like, no, I don't. No. Okay, then just go become a millionaire first, and then you can use all that money. You can set up a big studio. And I was like, okay. And then I completely disregarded it. And I kept going. And then COVID happened, and I had a whole international tour lined up. I was speaking all around the world, and I had like 10 or 12 countries lined up to speak at, and every single event got canceled. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And then I was like, why don't I start the podcast? And then the same thing came up, but you're not a millionaire yet. Yeah. And then I just had more intelligence to actually go, hang on a second, like that's a very intelligent limiting belief, because that's what it is, right? Back in my early days, I worked through other limiting beliefs. It's like, you're too young to be successful. You're not this, you're not these very blanket statements that most people have. I crush all these things. Yeah. But the mind's like an onion. Like you deal with one layer, the next layer is going to come up to deal with. So I had this other thing just saying, but you should become a millionaire first. I'm like, says who? What the fuck? So then I looked at that and I was like, I asked myself the question. I'm like, if I become a millionaire tomorrow, what is going to be the difference with the guests that I can get on and the knowledge that I can give? I'm like, nothing. So start today. That's what I was. And I was like, I can't believe it. And I became aware. I was like, I was just talking myself out of it for 18 months. So that's when I started. I went down to JB Hi-Fi. I bought a microphone, sat in my bedroom. I called about 5 or so of my friends. I said, can I do it? Can I just interview you? You wouldn't mind if I interview you, would I? Yeah. And I had no idea what I was doing. I just started chatting to them and it's just ready, fire, aim. I literally had the idea. We started all in one day. I gave my phone to a friend. I said, take a photo of me. I just took a smiling photo against the wall, gave it to a designer from Upwork. I said, give me a graphic design. Bang, we put it on iTunes, boom, boom, boom. And then it was funny when I launched it, someone else, and get this, my whole brand's Dream Out Loud, okay? And I went on there to register Dream Out Loud as a podcast and someone already took it.
No way.
But guess when they registered it?
When?
A year before me.
Of course.
So if I had actually, when I had that hunch, that first desire, that download to go do it, I'm a big believer of this. Like you'll get downloads, whatever, from the universe, whatever. You get these ideas. And if you don't act on it, it gets taken out and passed to someone else. You know, like it won't just come to you, it'll come to multiple people. Then whoever's got the biggest balls will actually act on it. And I didn't, and someone else did. And I was like, fuck. So then I remember changing it to dreaming out loud. I'm like, yeah, is that? I mean, because it's a podcast. Like you're dreaming with me, you know.
Yeah.
And then we launched it. After 6 months, I went to number 6 in all of Australia, and then I just thought to myself, I got a friend. I said, search dream out loud, and a friend who'd never searched mine before, and mine comes up before the other one. I said, boom. I'm changing my name. I'm taking it back because my show is just bigger. So that's what we did. We changed it all, and now we actually hold the trademark and everything. So
Good. And I think there's so many people that are similar to you in that they really want to start a podcast and they're so excited about it and they've got this idea and it's an idea that could genuinely help people, but they're just so stuck in their head and they're just like, no, I don't know. Can I actually do this? And I really want to talk through that mindset stuff with you as well. Before we go into it, I do want to dive into the podcast because when you look at your podcast, if you jump on YouTube and you have a look at the videos that you've got and even the guests that you've got, like some of the guests that you have had on the podcast have literally been on Diary of a CEO. And then you look at the clips and the titles and they are all so strategically worded to captivate and pull you in. What's the journey and the evolution of the podcast from like the start to now?
In the beginning, I had a Blue Yeti microphone plugged into my laptop in my bedroom where we were recording just audio only. So my whole podcast for the first probably 100 shows was just audio. And then because before I guess Steven Bartlett came on the scene, he set a whole new standard, really. But before him, you could get by with having a very good audio podcast because it was just audio.
Yeah.
Like podcast was just audio. Steven Bartlett, last time I spoke with someone of his team, they're spending $1 million a month on production.
Wild.
You can't it's a different. He's not building a podcast. He's the next Oprah, right? He's building a proper media company, like a television show. It's a completely different kettle of fish. Like to try to compare yourself to that person, that's why you're going to be destroyed. So in the beginning, it was absolutely horrible. Unfortunately, though, I wouldn't recommend starting a podcast now with just audio. I think if you do audio, you're done. Like we started to really grow as soon as I went to YouTube because we were posting all on Anchor, like just iTunes and Spotify, and it was just plateauing because there's no search engine really. Like no one can discover your show.
Yeah.
They're not getting onto YouTube. You know, you don't get on Spotify and just discover. Like it's now they got a bit of a feature, but it's still pretty shit.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see none of our shows grow. And there was so many times where I'm like, this sucks. I'm going to quit. I'm going to give this thing up. And then I remember we went onto YouTube, I think about 2 years ago. Within the first 6 months, we got more downloads in 6 months than I did in the first 3 years. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And then I think last month we did like over 1 million downloads in a month just on YouTube. And I was like, we did more downloads in this 1 month than we have completely total on every single platform 4.5 years combined.
Yeah.
We did it in 1 month. And it's only because of YouTube. Because we had a few good shows that just went boom. Because there's a lot of search engine now. Now YouTube has the platform where you can collaborate with guests.
Yes.
Which we haven't started yet, which I'm super keen to start doing because we've had some amazing guests on the show. But now what does it look like? I mean, it doesn't look like that crazy still. I have a full-time head of content. We have editors, I have a copywriter. Depending on what we're doing, we may have like someone who helps ideate scripts and things like this. Like titles and ideas. But apart from that, it's mainly me. Like I spearhead this. I'm like, who do I want to interview? Who do we want to bring on? What's the title of the show? What's the angle I want to do? Why do I want to talk to them about that? I just try to think like, what's something that they haven't been asked before, or if they have talked about it before, is it a very trending conversation? Can we bring back in and create clips and things like this? So there's a bit more ideas happening behind it now. Like in the beginning, I'll just jump on and I'd wing it. Funny thing with a podcast, like there's no rule book. Like every area of my life, I've gone, who's successful? I'm going to model that person.
Yeah.
When I go into podcasting, I go, who's the best in this? And I looked at Tom Bilyeu for Impact Theory. I used to love his show.
Yeah.
And then Larry King. I'm like, fuck, Larry King's one of the GOATs. And I go, cool, why are they successful? Tom Bilyeu wants to know every single thing about you before the show. And he gives you a crazy introduction. Larry King is the exact opposite. Larry King wants to know nothing about you.
Yeah.
And he wants to discover you on the show. I go, far out, like which one should I be then? And so I did a bit of a blend. So I wanted to understand the person, give a good intro, but then I wanted to discover more. And I've tried so many different things, but what I found is most important is just to record in a way that you enjoy. Because I used to give these big introductions and I used to hate them. I used to hate putting them together, reading them, and I was like, I'm just gonna stop doing them.
Yeah.
And then we used to do these massive post-production intros. I'm like, I hate that as well. And now I don't even like how we're doing it now. I think I'm just going to like we're just trying lots of different things, because if I don't enjoy creating it, I'm not going to like doing it.
Yeah.
And it is an investment. Like we spend quite a bit of money every month putting the whole thing together. So I've got to make sure I actually enjoy it.
Just on the intro part, we are hearing this from so many people. Like, guests don't even like sitting there, because we obviously don't. I just dive into straight away who you are, and we put some stuff in the intro afterwards sometimes. But we've found every single guest being like, thank you for not making me share my story.
I hate sharing my story.
Because you've said it so many times.
Yeah. I heard Hormozi say it one time, and Hormozi goes, when I get asked to go on people's podcasts, we'll just pull up one of their last ones, and if the first word out of your mouth is, so tell us, how did you get started? We're not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, fuck. Like, and he put into words how I felt. I don't want to create this general, just share my story again, even though, of course, your audience haven't heard it. But I don't know, try pull it out in different ways. Try to create an interesting conversation.
Yeah, and it feels like for some people as well, they just go into that default PR mode, and like no one even likes listening to it. You don't like saying it, no one likes listening to it.
Yeah.
And there are, as you said, so many different ways that you can pull that conversation out. What does prep look like for you now? How do you prepare for some of these guest interviews?
I had someone helping me prep for a bit, and he was pretty good. But then I'm pretty sure all their stuff was just coming straight from ChatGPT. Because sometimes I'll interview people, and I still get stuck in this. I'll interview them just because maybe they have a good brand. And then, funny enough, I've interviewed people who've had a good brand, but they've been the shittest conversations. And I've interviewed people with no big brand, no big following, and they've been the best conversations. I will sit on AI for a second. I'm like pretending interviewing, pull me a bunch of questions. I'll just look for a few, because funny enough, I'm quite illiterate. Like I can't read, write properly at all. And then now I've got myself into a career where I'm a speaker and a podcaster. I'm like I almost want to find, like, I'd love to go take like a PR course or something, like how to be a journalist or something. That'd be fascinating, on how to ask these questions, because you see some of these like Piers Morgans and shit know how to just fucking hit the spot. I'm like, I would never have thought of that question. So I don't think my questions are very good. So I like to get a bit of help on just like some interesting angles of things.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I will sit and I'll think like, what's the angle I kind of want to go with? I will reverse engineer and I'll think about what's the title going to be? What's the angle? Where do I really want this to go? But sometimes it doesn't even go that angle. Like we had Robert Glover on, and I had a title in my head. I'm like, I'm going to talk about this. And he's like a big counselor, a relationship coach, marriage coach. And we're going to talk about this. And it went a complete other direction. Talking about why men cheat, why women cheat, the conflicts we have of like conscious mind and our evolutionary psychology, and all these sorts of things. And I looked at my videographer after. I'm like, well, that was a completely different conversation. I'm like, it was just so good. It was like a 2-hour, really in-depth conversation. So I'll try to think with the end in mind. What's the title going to be? Why am I doing the show? I don't want to just pull someone on for the sake of it. Like, what do I want to get from this? Why do I want to chat to them? And I will actually create some questions, because I got flown to the UK to speak at an event. Steven Bartlett was there. Chris Williamson was there. And I didn't know who Chris was. And I was speaking right before him. And I had to introduce him to stage. And so I was Googling. I'm like, who the fuck is Chris? I'm like, he was on Love Island. I'm like, why is everyone say this guy's such a big deal? He's on fucking Love Island.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he has a podcast. I'm like, what else? He's on Love Island podcast. I'm like, okay. So anyway, I met him and I gave him a big introduction and stuff. And then we're at the event for a few days. And I was just chatting with him in the green room after. And I remember asking him, because I went to the UK literally thinking, I'm like, I'm close to quitting this podcast because I'm just so over it. And I said to him, how do you prepare for your shows? And he goes, I'll take a couple days and I'll look through their Twitter posts. I'll find their best tweets they've ever made. I'll find their best reels, all these things. And he's like, I'm trying to find these best conversations. I can bring them in. I'm like, whoa. He goes, then I have a whole bunch of questions and I have angles that I want to go at. I said, okay. He goes, how do you prepare? I'm like, I don't. Like, I'll just sit down and just go. And I'm like, huh. So then I asked myself the question. I'm like, can you really quit if you haven't even tried? So then I prepared for my next episode. And it was with Sarah Al-Madani in Dubai. She's like a celebrity in Dubai.
Yeah.
And I sat down and interviewed her, and then we did a couple 100,000 plays on that episode. It was our best performing video we've done for a while. And I saw that as a sign to just keep going. I was like, maybe if I just prepare and actually put effort in instead of rocking up being like, so you have a business, tell me about the business.
Yeah.
Like, it was so shit. Like, don't listen to the first 200 podcasts. Right?
And what do you think, like reflecting on that one conversation and how well that performed, what do you think was different about the questions? You obviously prepared, but what sort of things did you ask her that you potentially wouldn't have had you not done that prep?
I wanted to get deep. Like, I looked at some of her best performing content and I kept seeing it when she talks about narcissists and these things. And she's on like Housewives of Dubai, and she's a bit like quite tied up with some awesome entrepreneurs stuff in Dubai. And I was like, I don't just want to talk about generic shit. I'm like, I want to get to understand her and her background. And I just got her chatting on about subjects that she was really hot on.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to go to town. And thankfully she's an amazing person as well and very great at giving content. That's what's cool. If you get another content creator, when you both understand we're here to create content, you can create a really good show.
Yeah.
But that's what's tricky. Sometimes you interview people who are very stiff and they don't know how to talk, or they don't know what the content's gonna feel like. And like I've interviewed some good people and the content was just like shit. But what I asked differently, I went deeper. I got a little bit prepared of like, what's the angle I really want to go, and who's the listener that should listen to this? Why would they want to listen to this? What's the journey I need to take them on throughout the podcast for them to really get caught into this and to be intrigued about this and the outcome of this and what they're going to get? And I connected with her and I got curious on her, like just fascinated on why does she do the things she do. And what I've just found is the more curious I am on someone, the better the content's can be.
And that is something that we're hearing so often at the moment. Like we literally had Ryan John on the podcast a few weeks ago, and they obviously have millions and millions of downloads every single month. They've been named one of the top creators by Apple. And one of the things that he said was every minute of prep you do before the podcast cuts 10 minutes of post editing, but also you can hear like how lit up if you find a topic that people are really excited about, like they stand taller and they're so excited and passionate about what they're doing. You find the top performing content. Not only does her audience obviously love that, but she's probably they are probably really passionate about that as well. And then naturally you're going to have a really cool conversation because it's stuff they love talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really smart. I love that. So at the moment, with what you're doing on the podcast, it feels like you might be testing some new things. Are you currently going through like a testing phase or?
Every week we're testing things. Like I still haven't found a flow that I like. And because to be honest, like a podcast is a business and we get paid from YouTube and stuff now, which is cool. But it's only just started. And like there is a lot of effort that goes into it. Like the majority, probably like half our team are in media. You know, so it's about this really making moves for branding and stuff. So what's happened for us lately, the reason why it feels like things have changed is because we've exploded, like our the business. Like we're just pumping. We've like in the last month, I think we've had a revolving freaking door here. We've probably had, I don't know, 7-8 different staff come in and out. Like, so we've hired a bunch, we've let go of some, we've hired some, tested them, they went in. It's been hectic.
Yeah.
And doing all these things and then having a newborn and doing the rest of all these things, like the podcast has, you know, it's been harder to sort of keep up with it.
Yeah. And
I remember I was sitting here one day and I was interviewing someone, and halfway through the conversation, I was like, I'm so fucking bored. So now I start to think like, do I really want to talk to this person? And do I think, is this podcast going to go off? Is it going to go off? And if it will, then let's do it. If it's not, then... So we just cut it back a bit. So now instead of trying to do one every single week, I've gone back to doing solo shows as well. Yeah. I've tried lots of different things, but essentially I'm just trying to do what is the best quality I can do to keep it the most consistent without destroying myself. Yeah, because it is a whole other business.
It definitely is.
You know, so that's the changes that we've seen. It's still below the standard that I'd want it to be at. I want it to get better. We're just trying to get in front again. Yeah, so we have a US tour lined up. We've got some amazing guests coming on over there. Whenever I go to America, I usually get like 6 months of content.
Yeah. And do you batch them all as well? Like, will you go in and do them back to back?
Absolutely, yeah. As many as I can. Last time I was in America, we were there for about 2 weeks. And I think on one of the days I done 6 podcasts. Wow. Like it was like, I think I done 4. I got interviewed on 2, and it was like I didn't eat. Like
how did you feel by the end of the day?
I was cooked, but very productive. I was like, that was an amazing day. Like I spent half a day with Dean Graziosi that day as well. So like it was like my day started at 8. It was like a podcast 8 to 9, then 9 to 10, and then I went to Dean's place and we were like there for hours till like 4 o'clock. Yeah. And then we recorded with Dean. And then I had to go to another place. And I came home. And I met my friends for dinner about 9 o'clock, and it was the first time I ate that day. Oh my God. And I was like, I didn't have time to even get Uber Eats. It's just hectic. But that's why when I go over there, I'm like, I'm here to be productive, not chill.
Yeah, and you've got and then you've got the content off the back of it. You've got a couple months sorted. It's amazing. Yeah. But I think that sentiment around, falling out of love with the podcast, I think that needs to be spoken about as well. Not that you have, but you've had to keep pivoting, because even talking to Nathan Chen, he was exactly the same. He'd interviewed so many, this man, I couldn't find anyone he hadn't interviewed, right? Yeah. He's spoken to almost everyone, and you have spoken to a lot of incredible people as well. And you get to that point where you're just like, who now? And you don't just want to put shit content out there. It's better off to do something shorter or something that is, a solo episode or something like that, something that people can still take tangible information out from. Because if you put shit content out there, they're like, oh, why am I even listening to that?
Well, a friend said to me in the beginning, he goes, and Lewis Howes told him this. So Lewis Howes is a massive show. And he goes, you only got two options. You either create a podcast to make you money or you're developing a whole media company. Because that's it. So you're either doing a show, it's quite chill, but you're using it as a way to get leads and stuff, or you're going full blown the other way. If you're in the middle, you'll die.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people are in the middle. They create a show, and it's quite in the middle, but they're not using it as a lucrative way to actually get leads and make sales. And then they're not investing to actually grow it as a media company. We've tried to decide lately, I'm like, who are we? Like in the beginning, we're just creating this thing. So I was like this big top of funnel and people come to our events and shit. But now, like the more we've grown as a company, our funnel sort of lengthening is what it feels like. So we have this podcast, which is should be real top of funnel audience. Then we have our real back of end programs like our masterminds, our business scaling, our one-on-ones and stuff like this. These clients aren't necessarily listening to the podcast. And it's sort of like this interesting thing. So I would interview, and because I'm grown, I'll sit down and interview someone and I'm going to ask questions that I want to know. But in my audience, they're like 10 steps behind that now. Yeah. So what starts to happen is I interview someone and I've got to create content for the audience, not for myself. So a lot of the time, it sounds so annoying to say, but just because I'm so in this space as well, a lot of the time I sit down with guests, it's harder for me to learn lately. Like I might sit down with someone, I'm like, this stuff, like I'm just so basic. This conversation's basic, but we need to talk about this stuff because the audience hasn't learned this yet. Does this make sense?
Yeah, definitely. That's really interesting.
Yeah. Then I just have to flip my perspective. I'm like, well, you're doing it to serve.
Yeah,
so the podcast really is to serve. It's like if we just this is the thing that if I die, this whole thing will be out there still. All this content will be out there. This is the legacy stuff. This is what's really at the top of and building the personal brand. So I've just got to flip it because where the value really comes from me now is hanging out with them before and after the show.
Yeah, of course.
Like we had someone in here the other day and we had a quick half-an-hour chat after, and he's now connected me with one of his accountants and stuff. And that one conversation will make me millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's why that's really why I do keep doing it, because not just, the impact we get to have and the audience we get to, create, but it's the people I get to meet.
Every time I listen to a podcast, I get so excited about all the things I've heard. I can't wait to implement them in my business. And then life happens and I don't do anything with it. And I don't want this podcast to be that for you. I want you to take action and actually be able to implement these things that you're learning today. So head to the show notes or send me the word debrief over on Instagram and I'll send you all the key takeaways from today. Because the difference isn't what you know, it's what you do. Let's get back into the show.
Like there's the people I bring on the show, you can't just hit them up and go, hey, I'm in town. You want to catch up? They're like, fuck no.
Yeah, who are you?
But when you got this value, like without that, it wouldn't open these doors that you just can't open otherwise. And so it's a big brand move as well.
Definitely. I don't think I've ever really thought about that before. Like the fact that you are growing so much and then your audience, like unless they are growing with you and they're coming along the journey, some of them will be, but then the new leads that are coming in and they're coming into potentially the base program that you're working with, there are very different conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's a completely different conversation. Like, and I remember when I interviewed Dan Martell, and I was like, this is going to be such a good podcast. And we did it, and then my editor after, he goes, that was such a boring podcast. I'm like, what? He goes, that was so hard for me to listen to. I said, why? And he goes, because you went from this topic to that topic to that topic to that topic to that topic. I said, yeah, and? He goes, I had no idea what you were talking about. I said, but it was so valuable. Remember we talked about hiring people here and how he raised his kids here and then how to make money here and how to sell companies here. That's so good. And I'm like, it cost 90 minutes. He goes, yeah, but it didn't flow anywhere. He goes, that podcast was for you, not your listeners. I'm like, oh. And that's when I learned. I was like, because that show should have been way better. Yeah. It should have been way more views on that show, but it probably wasn't because people just like, too much ADHD going on. They're like, because that was me having a 90-minute conversation with Dan about all things business, family, success. So yeah, it wasn't one topic, but it was just about everything all in one.
That is really interesting. And I think like something that I personally do and I know has helped me and our clients and all of those things is having that listener at the forefront of your mind, like an actual physical person. So I have like a couple of them now, but like people that love the show, that talk to us about the show. And every time we're writing questions, I'm thinking about her. Like, what does she want to know? What would she be curious about from you? And I think like without that, definitely like half these questions would not be on this page because I have so many other things I would want to talk to you about.
That's cool.
Which I think that's really interesting, but also something that so many podcasters will go through. And the fact that you've had this realization and been able to bring that content back is the reason that people are still getting so much value from what you're doing today.
Yeah, well, I'd hope so.
Definitely. Now, talk to me. You don't just do the podcast. You have so many other things going on.
Yep.
One of them are incredible events. And podcasting events, I feel like getting speakers in, getting guests on, it is quite similar in some ways. Definitely not in others. But when you have an event coming up and you have a massive speaker coming on, a lot of times they will come with a profile. But is there anything you do to build hype for that person, to get people to go like, oh, I need to come to this event? Or like in a podcasting world, like building hype for a particular episode that's coming out?
I mean, a lot. Like, let's say Dreamfest, for example.
Yeah.
I think we're about 99% confirmed for our speaker next year. I'll tell you when we stop recording.
Yeah.
I cannot tell anyone out live yet, but like, let's say for Dreamfest, for example, because we had Dan Martell last year at Dreamfest. Some of the audience know Dan, but then some of the audience know me and not Dan.
Yeah. So
my whole job is to, like, before the event, is to actually get them in rapport with both of us. Like, who is Dan and why are you going to enjoy this and what you're going to take away from this? And that's the main thing they're always looking at. So, like, one of my programs I run is Unstoppable Speaker, like a speaker training program.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you really develop world-class influence and communication? One of the first things I teach people what to do when they open up any room, any talk, anything, even if you're talking at a wedding, a funeral, a keynote, a boardroom talk, it's the exact same formula. I would use every single opening. And one of the first things is the WIIFM, everyone's favorite radio station. What's in it for me?
Yes.
Right? What's in it for me? So you've probably seen people open a keynote talk and they're like, hi, oh my God, it's so good to be here. Oh my God, wow, so many people. Oh yeah. And then what happens is it's all about me. Me. Like, there's so many divas in this industry.
Yeah.
So what I do, I completely flip it. And I just like to focus on going, what's in it for you? Because I know if I can get your attention in the first 90 seconds, where you are now going like, and this is of a talk. I mean, 90 seconds is way too long for like short form content or even YouTube. Like, if we're doing a podcast, I've got to get you excited for why you should stay around. That's the main thing. It's like, what's in it for you? That's what everyone's asking. Like, no one cares about your story. They only care about their story. So even when people do still ask me, can you tell your story? I'll tell it in a way that's relatable to the listener. Because I don't care to share my story, but I'll share it in a way where hopefully the listener can be like, I can relate. And I do it through lots of different, I change how I'm speaking. Like there's lots of things I'm gonna be doing for a story, because I care more about, if you're watching this, I want you to go, I can relate. And I want to learn how this story end, or what am I going to get from this? So I'll create open loops. There's lots of different things. Like there's so much stuff to do to hype up. But if everyone just thought about that, it's like, what's in it for you is the number one thing people are thinking. It's like, what's in it for me? What am I going to get from this? Why should I care? Why should I care about you? What am I going to get from this? How long is it going to get me? How long is it going to take me to get this? And if you can sort of set them up for that in the beginning, then you're going to be able to keep their attention, because like that's really what it is. Someone said the other day, like there's no such thing as too long. It's just too boring, right? Because I've seen some people have like a 1 or 3 hour VSL funnel, right? And it's like, it's not too long. It was just too boring. Like if it's really good content, people are gonna love it.
Definitely. We spoke to Caleb Ralston as well a couple of weeks ago, and he posted a 15-minute clip on TikTok and Instagram.
Wow.
Some of the like highest engagement, highest views that he had got in 15 minutes. Like those platforms are not designed for that. And like even his YouTube video has, it's over 600,000 views now. It's 6.5 hours long. Like that is just, if that's like proof that it can be super, super long content if it's good. And I think that framing that you just mentioned is so important. And again, it's such a thing in podcasting, not just on the episode, but like that before and after, as well, that promotion on social media, hyping people up, getting them excited, which for your events, you do such an incredible, like I feel like I see you everywhere, probably because I know a lot of your speakers as well. I'm like, oh, hi, here they are. And they're sharing content, you're sharing content, but it's content that makes you like excited to go as well, which is really cool. And I think when we talk about your events themselves, when you started, they were very different to what they are now. Like you had the event that you've just done, you had over 700 people there, completely sold out. You had online as well. Yeah. But talk to us about your first event.
We don't talk about that one.
I heard it on your podcast the other day. You were telling us all about it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You don't have to talk about it.
No. I love talking about it. I love and I hate it. It's was probably like 6 months or so after COVID, and I wanted to run this big multi-speaker event because I always had the vision of Dreamfest. I had this vision of this big conference, this festival. It's exciting. It's a movement, and it's just a place where entrepreneurs can come and get every single thing that they need. And I just completely underestimated it. That's really what it is, right? We always, what's the saying? Overestimate what you can do in a year, underestimate what you can do in 10 years.
Yeah.
It's usually what happens. And for this way around, it's like I overestimate what I could do at my first event and underestimate what we could do 4 years on. And so we ran this event, and I went and got a venue. I was like, let's go get this venue. Let's make it fucking huge because there's going to be 500 people come to this thing, right? Like, why would they not want to come?
Yeah.
And then I go, what can I call it? I'm going to call it Mega Success. That's what we're going to do. Call it Mega Success. That's what's happening because, that sounds like it's a super successful event. I launched the funnel. We put it out there, and we had all these speakers, and I just genuinely thought in my head, if every speaker just tells people, they'll probably all sell 100 tickets each. Then we'll have 600 people at this event. It's going to be amazing. Everyone's going to win. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
And 5 weeks into promotion, I think we sold like 42 tickets, and I'm like, this is horrible. We have 1 week to go now. And then, not to mention, what happened a couple of weeks before this, there's this other, let's say he's like a bit of a Grant Cardone wannabe in America. He also runs an event called Mega Success that I didn't know about. Oh. I had no idea about this.
No.
And I just ran this event, Mega Success. And next minute, he's DMing me on Instagram. And he's like a kind of bigger profile.
Yeah.
And he's DMing me personally, being like, why'd you steal my name? And I had to double check. I'm like, is this a dummy account? I'm like, no, this is actually him DMing me himself. I'm some 27-year-old kid on the fucking Gold Coast on the other side of the planet. And you have nothing else better to do with your life than to DM me why I've sold 42 tickets to some event where it's called. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, this is my event. And he sent me Mega Success. And it was like Mega Success 19 or something. And then I was like, does 19 mean this is the 19th year you've ran it? I'm like, if so, I'm like, that's crazy. I've never even heard of it. And he's lost his mind. And he started attacking me in the DMs and then screenshot and put on these stories and all this stuff. So this was the first my indoctrination to doing bigger business. Yeah. And I'm like, now he's like, I'm going to sue you and all this stuff, trying to really full threaten me. So I go, well, fuck this. So I spoke to one of my friends who's, very aware of all laws and shit. I said, let's look into this. Is it trademarked? It's not trademarked. I said, matter of fact, I'm like, let's fucking trademark it ourselves then. Anyway, so we didn't do that, but I wrote back and I said, dude, there's no trademarks here. So why don't you send me get your legal team, send me a cease and dismiss, and to my legal team, and we'll consider it. And he lost his shit, and he slandered me through social media and all this stuff. And this was literally I was having this being attacked where I was like, I'm just trying to do a cool event for cool people. Now I'm being attacked. It's not even worth it because 40 freaking people have signed up to it. And I was nearly considering changing the name. And I'm like, no, it's going to, I'm like, and then I just weighed up the risk as you need to do as an entrepreneur. I'm like, what's going to be the risk if I keep this event going? And I do it and he does sue me. I'm like, what's the chance of him doing this? Can I just drag this on for 2 more weeks, then it's just done, and I just won't do it again? Or do I change the name and confuse everyone? And everyone's already confused enough. And I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to keep doing it. We ran the event. And the night before the event, I think we had about 70 people registered for this thing. And the night before it, we got hit with the worst storms that we had ever, 10 years or something right here. And we wake up in the morning and it was so disgusting outside that I didn't even want to get out of bed. I didn't want to go to my own event.
Yeah.
Why would anyone else want to go to this event? I was so I would like to just cancel this. I don't even want to go. And it was ridiculously cyclonic storming outside. We get to the event. Over half the audience didn't come because why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
There was about 35 people in the audience. Half my speakers couldn't even leave their house because they got flooded in. And instantly I just went to my plan B. I'm like, because I've always got to have a plan B, right? So we had cameras there. I'm like, roll up a fucking Zoom. Let's get this thing virtual. Now everyone's going to be inside. Let's just pump this thing. Let's get free tickets to virtual. We got 40 people online. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sitting at the back of the event, in the fetal position,
Oh my God.
In my head, I'm like, we have this huge venue, 500 people. There's 30-something people out there. I think we had more crew than we had guests there, right? And I was just every single thing we did didn't work. We put money into ads, didn't work. People had lied to us, told us to help us with marketing, all this shit. I learned so much through that. Then the end of it, people were like, what do you want to do? And I said, I'm going to go back to my house, back to the drawing board. I'm going to figure out what worked, what didn't work. And I'm doing another one in 6 months. And my team were like, no. And I said, yes. And then 6 months later, we launched Dreamfest 1.
Yeah.
And it was great. I think we had about 220 people come in the audience. It was amazing. We crushed it. Again, I looked at that event. I'm like, this was what did I love, what did I not love. Went back year 2, made a little bit better. Year 1, I mean, every single event we've ran, we've had huge issues happen. We had speaker at the first Dreamfest not get accepted their visa the day before.
Oh, no.
They tried to come in and they got kicked out. I'm like, oh my God. We had to fly them to Dubai because they were like coming out. I'm like, go to Dubai and there's a good studio there. We put them in the studio so we can virtually stream them.
Oh my God.
But then that opened up a really good window because I was driving to the venue for a sound check the day before. And he messaged me, did not let me in. I'm like, okay, let's just stream him virtually. I don't want to do it, but we'll do it. And I go, what great could this bring? I asked. I'm like, how could this have happened for me? Like, what can I get from this? And I was just chatting with John DiMartini a couple of days early. And I go, I'm going to ask John. So I just emailed John. I said, yo, Johnny boy, I'm like, what are you doing this time tomorrow? Or, you know, and he goes, oh, I was going to go for a surf. I'm in Africa. I said, do you want to stream in, talk to my audience and all this? And he goes, I'd love to. So now I got DiMartini because of the fuck up. I had DiMartini also streaming. It was a complete secret guest. No one knew about it. I said, can I introduce you to one of my friends? And then John comes on screen. It got a standing ovation. Everyone lost their shit. I was like, well, that's a great way to turn something shit into something good, right?
Yeah.
But every single year we made it better and better and better. So year 2, we increased by about 100 people. We had about 330, 340 people in the audience. Year 3, we had about 450 in the audience last year. This year, we brought down Martel. And the goal was like, let's do another 100 and 100. And we actually blew it up. We had over 1,200 tickets sold, actually. Completely oversold it. Yeah. And I was thinking, I'm like, people could be standing in the hallway. We were like, it was completely packed to the brim, where we had to fully sell it out about a week before. And I had an option to go virtual because I didn't want to ever do it virtual because Dreamfest is an in-person experience. Like, it's gangster. But however, I also understand that we can make it awesome virtually as well, but I just didn't know how. So we had 5 days. I go, and the team were like, we'll just open up virtual. I said, I don't want to do it unless we can do it at a world-class standard, because that's what Dreamfest is. Dreamfest is mind-blowing. Like, we have DJs, we have all this stuff. I go, well, how can we do it? So that's what I did. So 5 days, now we are planning this entire virtual experience. Like, how do we increase the experience? How do we make them feel connected? How do we make them feel welcome? How do they have fun in games, be connected, all this stuff? And we built this whole playbook in 5 days, and we had about 160 people on virtual that joined within 5 days as well. So we had nearly 1,000 people attend this year. It's crazy. So yeah, next year I want 2,000.
Yeah, cool. And like on the trajectory to do that. And I think watching that behind the scenes as well unfold and like scrambling and going, okay, cool. Like, not let's just do this virtually, but let's make this an experience where they feel like they've had the best time, because then they'll want to either come again next year or actually be in the room next year and do whatever it takes to make that happen. And the world of podcasting, everybody wants live shows at the moment. You know, we've seen so many this year, and I think everyone just wants that in-person connection. If you were going through everything you've gone through, which is wild, and I think I love so much the tenacity and like the resistance to just keep going through and like keep dreaming bigger and going back year after year. What advice would you have for someone that's wanting to start out doing live in-person events?
Buckle up. Look, get mentorship. Yeah. It's you, and unless you like falling on your face into glass, get mentorship and learn from someone who's done it. You know, because I might make events look somewhat easy, but when I built my network marketing business before I did all this, before COVID, I was in network marketing, and I built one of the biggest teams in the whole company in 7 years doing that, and we did that through events. So like, I did a lot of events already. So I was already in the space. I know kind of what works. I know how to fill a room. It's like I consult events. I'm consulting to a big one this weekend. Where they've asked me to consult because they're like, our last few years have been awful. Can you help us? I said, yes. I know how to fill a room. I know how to get people in there. I know why they're going to want to come there. I know how to get them to not just show up, but want to stay. And then how do they stay and actually buy so you can make money at the event? How to get them to sign up next year and all these different things. So I would say get mentorship, get advice, and go and learn from someone who's already doing it. Like, that's going to be the best way. Otherwise, you are going to fall on your face. It's going to hurt, and you can lose a lot of money because... I mean, like venue hires and stuff alone, like there's a lot of There's a lot of things that can go wrong, especially when you start to bring in other guests as well. But then start small. Start with something simple. Start with something where you're not completely stretched over your head. Don't go get the biggest venue. Don't get the biggest place straight away. Get something that can actually, it's okay selling out your first event. That should be the goal, actually.
Yeah.
Get something somewhat small, completely oversell it, completely sell it out, then use that for your marketing for your next one. Go, oh my God, we completely sold this out. Your first event isn't going to make you the millions, but your first event is going to give you the skill set and hopefully the stomach you need to create the event that will give you millions, right? It's not going to happen straight away. It took me years before we had a first 7-figure day. But now when we did it, I'm like, well, that feels small. Let's do an 8-figure day. So that's going to be the next goal. I think a couple of years we'll do an 8-figure day. But that's the goal.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I think we could literally do a whole podcast series on just events. Like, it is so intricate and there are so many moving parts. And as you said, mentorship is so key to that, because even when you think you know it all, there's still stuff like you now would still run into things every single event that hasn't happened before. If you were just touching on like one of those things, like how to fill a room. You mentioned earlier, like ads weren't the right thing for you in the way that you did them originally. What would you suggest to people to get people in the room?
Well, you got to become a marketer. Right? You got to become a marketer. So when we try to do ads for the first event, we were trying to convince people just to come to some weird, vague, strange event. It was mega success. It's like that kind of says what it is, but also then the people on the lineup was just sort of this strange, like nothing lined up. And what I've noticed is with events, it's marketing, but massively branding. And you speak to marketers and they're always like, marketing is more important. If you speak to me, I'd say branding is more important. But if you speak to me now, I say you need an absolute equal of both. Because what I think I'd done well in the beginning was focus on brand so well. Because if I'm going to invite you to an event, here's what people need to understand. If you're going to run Facebook ads and you're trying to sell, let's say, an e-commerce, you're going to try to sell this cup, okay? I'm going to try to sell this cup through a Facebook ad. It's pretty easy to articulate what you're going to get. You're going to get a fucking cup. And it's going to say Dream Aloud on it. Right? And you look so cool when you drink it. So I would take photos of me using the cup and be like, oh, yay. And I'd show how I can have hot stuff in it and cold stuff in it and how happy I am after using it. It's very easy to articulate. This is exactly what you're going to get. So if I run ads to a funnel that says, buy my cup, it's $10. That's pretty easy. I mean, your cost per lead, your cost per purchase would be probably, hopefully, less. Okay? But now let's say I'm going to try to convince you to come to an event. Here, I'm trying to convince you to spend money with me. An event, I'm trying to get you to spend money and your time with me. I'm trying to get you to give up an entire day of your life with me. It's not the money. Like the money is, you can do a free event and you get lots of registrations, but still hardly any of them rock up. Because again, time is our largest commodity. So what I've seen is if you only had, say, you've got 2 kids and you're taking 1 day off a week, all right? You go, Sunday's my day with the whole family. I want to take my kids to the most amazing event experience today. And you see something and the Facebook ads look really disjointed and shit, cheap branding, cheap logos, no reviews. The landing page is fucking shitty and you're confused on like, how much is it? Is it $50 ticket or is it $100 ticket? What am I going to get? When is it? When's the start? This is so confusing. I'm not even going to fucking go.
Yeah.
But then if you go over here and then there's, join us for this amazing kids' Christmas carols in the park. There's going to be face painting. There's going to be horse riding. There's going to be jokes. There's going to be this. There's going to be dress up themes. It's going to be the most amazing day out. And you can believe us because we've been doing this now for 5 years. Get your ticket today. Doors open at 9 o'clock. It runs till 6 o'clock. And you can come anytime you want. Tickets are this much. It's like, you've got to position the offer. So the branding, when people see these 2 events, they're like, if I don't care about the money, it's $50, $100, whatever. I care about if I take my 2 kids to this event on my only day off, am I going to have a good experience? Yes or no? And I don't trust it. So I'm out. Here, my likelihood of having a good time, that seems pretty high. So I think with events, you've got to really factor in brand. You've got to factor in the whole experience. So what we try to do at Dreamfest, we show like it's off its head. We show there's DJs, there's fire, there's lights, we show that this is an event that is nothing like anything you've been to been to other seminars or whatever, they're boring as fuck. This is off its head. We have DJs at 7 o'clock in the morning. right? We have like, there's coffee there, there's food, there's speakers, there's this speaker. It's like, it's exciting. But then I spend a lot of money on branding. Like we spend a lot of money on, like, I'll play with the color palette for every single year for months until it's perfect for me. I'm like, I need to feel something. So if I see that, do I feel warm? Do I feel excited to come to this event? And only when I'm there, then we launch it. Right? So, because I want people, when they see that, they've got to have this psychological already buying where it's like, my perception is quite high that I'm going to really enjoy that event. Right? Like if I'm going to give you my time, I just want to make sure I'm really going to get it. Right? So then you got to draw out to say, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get this, you get this, you get this. Because that's the main thing. Right? That's the difference of selling something online. Like selling a coffee mug, here's what you're going to get. Black coffee mug. Makes sense. You can put whatever the hell you want into it. An event, I mean, it's going to be very different for everybody. So we try to draw out all the different things that you're going to get from it and why you should be there and how exciting it's going to be. And we speak to different demographics, right? Like one thing I've studied, I'm obsessed with just the brain. So when it comes to human influence and persuasion and psychology, it's one of my favorite topics. So if I could say one, the difference again, you've got to sell them not just on the price, but really why they would rather be at that event and miss out on like their kid's soccer game and get to that event than anything else. Like you gotta show that. And people have asked us, like, Dreamfest is so good, why don't you do it multiple times a year? I'm like, then it wouldn't be so good. Why it's so good is because one time a year, then it's done.
Yeah, and everything you mentioned there, like it makes so much sense, right? Like you help people grow their businesses as well. The whole packaging and explanation of the offer and really clearly articulating like what's in it for them, like you mentioned earlier, and what they're getting and the experience and that time trade-off as well. So applicable and such good advice for events. I think you can probably apply that to a podcast too, right? Like you are giving up your time in the car. If you're thinking about how you're marketing and positioning a podcast in its entirety or a particular episode and you applied some of those same things again in the messaging that you're using to promote that episode, it's really smart because people can see exactly what's in it for them and why they would trade the time that they have to go and spend that with you in their ears too.
Well, that's what Steven Bartlett does, right? So his intros, he has one editor and his only job is to cut that one clip a week.
Yeah.
Like the intro video. Like it's crazy. So that whole thing is to really move you through all these different emotions to really get you bought in so you can go, oh my God, I have to watch this episode. If you think like any TV show, if you think like, I don't really watch TV shows anymore, but growing up, you know, TV shows that are on, they always have that trailer. Here's what you're going to get in this episode. And it's like tease you like Home and Away and all that crap.
Yes.
Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I have to watch, right? And it's all this drama. One thing I think Steven does very well, and I didn't ask him this, but next time I talk to him, I will. But I wouldn't mind betting he has like a psychologist put his questions together or something. Because there was a track there for a while where nearly every one of his guests was crying. It's like you got to be hitting them with some questions that you got to know the heartstrings to pull and you got to put it on them. Yeah. Because what sells before anything else is drama.
We did a analysis. We built like a little bot that analyzed some of the top performing podcasts in the world. One of them was Steven's. Cool. And we pulled out like the 7 techniques that they used in those interviewing to get people to stay invested and re-engage throughout it. And one of them was just even that framing of like when you're asking a question, it's going back to that moment in time and asking them like rather than saying like, tell us about the time that you did that, be like, okay, so when you were going through that, how did you feel? And like just using tiny little, like all those psychological tactics, there are so many woven through all of those questions. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does have a psychologist on his team that does that.
What were the other big ones you saw?
Oh my gosh, I'll send them all through to you because they are so good. I'll pop it in the show notes as well. But like, because they are really detailed as well. Like there's the 7 umbrellas, but then in each of them we really went deep on like what does that particular tactic mean. A lot of it is like how to get people out of that PR response mode as well. Yeah. Which again goes into those like emotive responses and those sort of things. Speaking of psychology, one of the reasons I was so excited to talk to you as well is that as you touched on at the start, even for yourself, so many people are just so scared to start their podcast. And we touched on that early on. And I think, you know, seeing the work that you do and how you help people, what's some advice that you would say to just get them out of their own way and to take that leap and to actually just start doing it? And even what is something that they can do to help move through those limiting beliefs that are coming up for them?
Yeah, so somebody actually asked me this on my story yesterday. They're like, why am I so afraid to post content? And I'm like, it comes down to 2 things. Number one is our brain's been developed over millions of years. Okay, there's 3 layers to our brain, and people think the brain conscious and unconscious mind, but there's the unconscious mind. There's really different levels to it, and one of the most deepest levels of our brain is our reptilian brain, and it goes all the way into our gut. Like our brain actually starts in our belly, and then it will come all the way up through our vagus nerve, and it comes up to the back of our head here. And so whenever people have had that gut instinct, that's their brain, right? It's their brain actually being like, there's something that feels off here. And it starts to send signals before you even know. So let's backtrack this for a second. Let's say 2 million years ago, you're in your tribe and you're not the chief. What would happen if the chief was like, we don't like the Vikings. We all hate the Vikings. And what would happen if you stand up and you go, I kind of like the Vikings. I think they're really good people. What would happen? You'd be killed.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this guy. You'd either be, let's kill him, or we're kicking you out of the tribe. Now you're by yourself. Now, if you're by yourself, probably what's going to happen? You'll probably die. Okay? So what has been hardwired into us, we have developed a script through millions of years that do whatever the people around us are doing. Okay? Because if we are complying with what those around us are doing, then we have a higher chance of survival. If we stand up and we share our voice and we say the things that we want to say, then we have a high chance that people aren't going to accept that. If they don't accept us, that's going to feel like I'm being rejected. I'm going to be kicked out of the tribe. If I'm kicked out of the tribe, I could die. So sharing my voice and sharing my things that I want to talk about and going after my dreams are as scary as saying, please kill me. And I mean, the number one goal of the unconscious mind is to keep you alive. And this is where people have this crazy conflict between what they consciously want and what they unconsciously are actually doing. Because consciously they're like, I really want to create this podcast, but I mean, what if people get to think of me? It's always a judgment thing. Yeah. It's always a judgment thing. So what starts to happen is you have this unconscious mind, which is running your behavior, but you can't rationalize it. So if I want to start a podcast and I want to start talking about the things that I want to talk about, but I mean, all my family are on social media, my old circles on social media, and I put it out there, and then I think people are going to start to look at me and be like, oh, who do you think you are? You're a podcaster. Oh, but you're not even a millionaire yet. And all this shit, right? Because, I mean, it's not true, but it's what I think is true, which is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Whatever I believe I am, then I am. You know, I'll keep acting in ways to confirm with who I think I am. I'm not going to question who I think I am. I'll keep acting in ways to confirm who I think I am because I need certainty. If I have certainty, I can survive. So I'll choose the path that I don't want, even if the path that I don't want isn't what I'm happy with. I'll keep choosing it because it's dangerous to choose something else. Yeah. This all takes place unconsciously without you justifying, without you actually understanding. So then the conscious mind comes in and can't make sense of it, has to make sense of it. It's just not the right time. That makes sense then. but you're not a millionaire yet. That makes sense. Why don't you wait until you get all this money? Because it's going to cost so much money to have a production studio, right? So the conscious mind creates all of these stories that can actually rationalize. So then it calms my nervous system. I go, that makes sense. Okay, well, yeah, I believe it. So whenever we justify, we believe our lies because we add evidence to the thing that we're talking about. So if I say, why can't you have that? Well, because anytime we justify, we're supplying evidence. Now, evidence is one of the 4 things we need to actually create and build a belief. Yeah. The more evidence we have supporting a belief, the more we believe it to be true. So the first thing why people get so resistant to actually go out there and use their voice and do all these things is because, I mean, they're running against a brain that's 2 to 10 million years old. But the most difficult thing about that is one day you'll get old and realize that you played it small to make other people happy. You know? So I like to dive really deep into the whole why people are scared to do the things they do because everything comes down to a neuroscience level. Yeah. It's like it makes a lot of sense of just how we've actually been evolved. So that's number 1. That's the main reason why people don't actually get out there, right?
Yeah.
Number 2 is a much less scientific way. It's just my cold hard approach of you're being selfish. Yeah, if you're afraid to go out there, you're being selfish because what you're saying is you care more about what other people are going to say about you than the impact you can have on the world. Yes. How selfish, right? Like, I mean, you're putting your own feelings before the impact you can have. Do you know how many people have come up to me? People have got Dream Out Loud tattooed on them. No way. You know how many people have come to me and been like, oh, this is your podcast, it changed my life. People have found me in public and like other parts of the world, I've had people come up to me. And I just remember, I'm like, imagine if I let my own fears get in the way and I didn't get to share that with someone and they didn't get to meet that person or connect that person or find our content or do whatever. I'm like, that's crazy. So I would rather get to the end of my life knowing that I was the one who, cops some arrows in the back in order for other people to be free. I'm okay with that. But my advice for people would be this then. Number one, recognize that the reason why you're so scared is probably because you think you're going to get killed. Realize you're not going to get killed. It's okay. It's so okay. And so what I would say for them to do instead is get into an environment of people that actually would support what it is you want to do. Because here's the thing. If you're in the wrong environment, they get convinced you that your ideas are stupid. If you're in the wrong idea, wrong environment, they can say, oh, but you can't do this. Like, who do you think you are to be a podcaster? And everyone's got a podcast and all this shit. Or over here, you can be in a group with people who go, yeah, you know what? Everyone does have a podcast, but guess what? There's always room for the best. And if you want to be fantastic, you can absolutely still do that. And it is amazing that everyone's now got a podcast, because you know what happened when I first started my podcast? We looked at the stats. Only about 1 in 6 or 7 people in Australia used the podcast app. This was just 6 years ago. Now, I think it's about 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So because there's so many people now using podcasts, now people are like, oh, what's your podcast? Everyone now, like 10 years ago, there wasn't that. It's like you had to be in the podcast world to understand what it even was. Yeah. Now, people are switching, and their current form of media is podcasting now and less TV. That's actually now what's switching. I mean, really, it's understanding. So getting yourself into an environment where your new beliefs are going to be supported, and that way you're going to start to trick your brain to be like, hold on, I can go after what I want, because if I don't go after what I want in this new circle, then I'll feel like I'll be killed. So I might as well go after what I want, and you'll feel so good freaking doing it. So that would be my advice. Like, be around the people that are actually really doing it. And then just also understand this. The loudest boos will always come from the cheapest seats.
Yes.
And I would always rather die on the field, playing the game, trying to win, than to watch from the sidelines. That's just my mentality. If you want to be taken seriously, keep going and be here in a year from now. If you're still here in a year from now, everyone will have no option but to look at you and be like, they're actually one of the true ones.
And I think that part that you said about being around in a year, like just planning from the start, like treat this like a business, like you've said, plan for that year. Like, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be talking about in 12 months? Because if you've thought about it, then it's just following the steps to make it happen. So I love that so much. Morgan, we have covered so much. It's been so amazing talking to you. I have some very, very quick mic drop moments, rapid fire questions. All right. You cannot say Diary of a CEO. What is a podcast that is regularly on your rotation, and why do you keep coming back to it?
You know what? I create so much more than I consume right now. One thing that I'll always come back to is Chris Harder. The Chris Harder Show. He was one of the first podcasts I listened to. I've seen a lot of people lately have gone this like long. They're like 2 hours, 3 hours. I just can't do that shit.
No one has time for that.
Yeah, so I'm more looking for these bite-sized ones lately. And why I like Chris's is because he really built his show on doing a lot of 10 to 20 minute things. So I can have these bite-sized podcast things.
What is the best piece of advice that you've been given?
In my whole life, it would be don't take advice from broken, unhappy people.
Good advice. And if you had to give one last piece of advice to someone who's wanting to start or grow their podcast, what would it be? Except
for just start, I would say take it seriously. Make the decision. Because there's two different types of people who are doing podcasts. Number one, you're doing it because you're starting growing a personal brand. If you want to grow a personal brand, you got to invest in it now. I'd say you do have to really invest. You don't have to invest money, but invest time, energy, make it like exceptionally well. If you're going down that route with really personal branding, or if you're doing it because you're in business, you absolutely need to have one. And you don't have to make it too crazy, because you just want to make it a top of funnel podcast where people can consume your content, get to know you before they do business with you. Either way, I'd tell them to talk to you and get you to help them.
Thank you. Listen to this podcast and you will have everything you need. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing having you. And guys, we'll pop everything in the debrief, but definitely make sure you go check out the podcast as well.
Our YouTube, find us on YouTube where a lot of our podcasts are Morgan Nelson, or our Instagram, Morgan T. Nelson. Find me there. Come hang out. But thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you for being here.